All right, hey everyone, this is Ethan with Beware Beekeeping. Today we're going to be just checking on our hives. It's going to be a short video, but just wanted to see how the experimental hive was doing, building out the top box on the 3D printed frames. They're a little bit slower than this hive behind me. So we're just going to see how they're doing there. And then we're just going to see how the bees are building up this box right here. We just added this on a few days ago. Just want to see, are they actually building it out? We are kind of at the end of the nectar flow, so I don't expect a whole lot, but we just want to see how they're doing. So that's going to be a short video, and we'll get to it. All right. All right. All right. So just going to start with smoking our hive here a little bit. All right, well, we got a little bit of comb here on our screen. Just gonna do a quick check, make sure our queen's not up here. She is not. We do have a lot of activity today. We had a storm go through this morning, so I think the bees are trying to make up for lost time. And we'll see how we're doing. All right, so this is the outermost frame. Again, this is going to be the last one that gets built up, so not really seeing a change on this. All right, this is the second most outer. Not a whole lot. All we're seeing is the wax here. So actually what I'm going to do, because I can see kind of down in here, they haven't made as much progress as I would have liked. They're really only just kind of on these 3 frames, the middle one and then one on each side. I'm just going to start spraying these all with a little bit of sugar water, try to get some bees interested in it. I just kind of dripped some wax on it. I was hoping that would help, but didn't seem to do the job. There we go. So this is just 1-to-1 sugar water. That's all I'm spraying on here once my sprayer actually starts going. And really all this does is it kind of, sugar water obviously being sweet will attract the bees to it, and if the foundation is kind of coated in sugar water, they'll be pretty happy about it. That's all we're doing here. My sprayer is not working the best. It's going to be about good enough for right now. All right. So this is the, I guess if you got middle here, one out from the middle, this is the second one out. They're starting to build up the center part, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of activity elsewhere, so I'm just gonna spritz this a little bit. With plastic, the bees, you know, it's not a natural substance that the bees are used to building on, so they don't really have a lot of motivation to go there. That's why I'm just spraying this water. But I'm not gonna really go into this bottom box. They were doing really well the last inspection, so I don't want to disturb them more than necessary. Alrighty. I don't know if you can see that there. That is all capped honey right there. So that's looking pretty good on this side. They're building out more than last week. They just really had a little bit of the center portion there, but again, not quite the growth I was looking for. So I'm just gonna put that there. Just gonna do a little spritz here. This won't bother them at all, this water. They'll just actually clean themselves off. But I should also note, you know, you don't want to ever mix your like honey that you're gonna eat for humans with like sugar water and that sort of thing. So you only really do this like spritzing method if it's something they're not going to really use, because you just don't want to contaminate your honey with just sugar water. It's not that the honey will become inedible. It'll just be overly sweet and not really taste like honey. The bees will still turn it into honey if they have enough of it. All right. This one is pretty heavy too. All right. Well, what I got on this side here, opposite of you, is maybe some larvae that are hatching, or they've hatched out of their eggs, and Sorry, it's a little heavy, a little awkward. Yeah, they had some larvae that had hatched out and emerged, and they're just kind of building up in the bottom there. Looks like the rest of this are trying to pack full of honey. I can't really see down in there in those cells all that well. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of new larvae. Okay, I'll keep just do a quick check to see if I see a queen here, because I see some young larvae and potentially eggs. So she might be around here. Ooh, that looks like a swarm cell or two. Oh, okay. So we got a couple of swarm cells here. I'll try to show them to the camera here. None of them have been used, but we got about 3 or 4 of them that I'm seeing, maybe 5. Sometimes they put a drone cell kind of sideways and it can look like it, but I'll try to get this on the camera here. I am going to be doing this a little blind, so I apologize ahead of time, and hopefully this thing will focus. But see these at the bottom, these circular cells, they'll be pointed towards you, but those are some swarm cells, and you do that when they're about to split. I wouldn't have expected them to so far. Usually, at least from what I had heard from some other beekeepers in the area, is once they get really into the nectar flow, like they are right now, they kind of tend to stop swarming as much. So this might be more space requirement than anything, but not a whole lot to really do there. You can kind of delay it. I might have to look at doing a split here. I'll see how these other frames are doing, but you know, it might just be one of those, not a whole lot I can do right now. They still got plenty of frames to build on, so it could be that they're too hot, which is one, or it could just be that it's natural reproduction one. Not a whole lot I can do about that one. If the hot one though, I can kind of crack the lid just to make sure they get a little more air ventilation. All right, so this side here, pretty full frame of honey. As you see on this side, it's kind of spotty, so we'll do the same thing here. I'm not seeing any swarm cells on this one, so we'll just try to put a corner down here. Just spritz this real quick. All right. Yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. Sorry, I'm a one-man show today, so I'm a little scatterbrained. The sugar water I'm using is just 1-to-1. So really that's just kind of promotes wax production. So that's the intent of doing that, is again just to kind of keep them a little interested. All right. Now here's something a little interesting. The frame beside it, so this is one out, and you saw how spotty it was on the last one. Well, you see some bees are building up right here, and then this was on the inside. You got bees building up here, and this is what we call wonky comb. So you see how they built a little bit of a ledge right here. Sorry, I apologize if this isn't in frame. I'm gonna give it my best shot. So that right here is wonky comb. Looks like they're still building it, so nothing's in it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tear it out and spray this whole thing, just so hopefully get them to restart on that. So that is kind of a risky run. Really, any time you have frames that are unformed, because you know these frames were tightly packed in there and they have the same space as everything else, but since the comb on the other side wasn't fully developed, they decided to start making wonky comb out of it. They just decided to build inward because they had the room, and that's usually how you get wonky comb. So we're just going to tear that out. Not a problem. yeah, so we're just gonna hit the reset button on this, and they'll just kind of make this little thing here a little bit better. All right, come on everybody, get off. This does not harm the bees. You kind of see me shaking my tool. They have a hard exoskeleton, so this doesn't harm them at all. It's just kind of what you have to do to get them to move. There is a little bit of nectar in this bottom part if you see some drips coming off. It wasn't capped over, so it's not quite honey yet. All right, I think we are good on that one. I'll spritz it and we'll keep going. So in the swarm cell side of it, going back to that, I saw about 4 or 5 of them out there. And that's usually, again, they're getting ready to swarm. I could do a split if I really wanted to. And maybe I will. I don't really have the stuff to do it right now. Well, on me right now. But I do have the equipment, so we could do a split here this weekend if they make it that long. So this upcoming weekend, I'll just do a better inspection, a deeper inspection. Now these black frames, or black foundation frames, I'm not gonna spritz at all because they're already coated in honey. They do a much better job than I did, so I'm okay with that. All right, just gonna spritz this last one here. And again, they haven't made it this far yet, but they're still working out on this box. So they've slowed down a little bit. They had done a lot of activity, a lot of comb development in most of May, and we're in just past the first week of June here. So they've slowed down a little bit there. But other than that, I mean, swarm cells are kind of a good sign. Those were, again, swarm cells. They weren't super procedure cells. So the queen's probably around here. We saw relatively new evidence of her within the past few days. So I'm not worried about any of that. Just gonna keep driving on. If they split, you know, it kind of slows things down because you lose half of the bees that can fly. But and that'll be a fun video to do the split. I did read up how to do splits back when they gave me a little scare a few weeks ago. So that'll be a fun video to do to show you guys how that works. I got this one who's chilling on my sleeve. She's doing all right. All right, so yep, that's how we're doing on this one here, on the experimental hive. And I don't know if I said this before. I say it in about every video, but just for the new folks out there, we call it the experimental because it's mostly 3D printed frames. I did, on this top box, use some regular ones just to compare how quickly they draw them out. So far, I haven't really noticed a difference, but they don't start until these ones right here have the foundation. So they're not quite there yet, but we'll see how quickly they do that. And we'll just bundle these guys up. Come on, young lady. Sorry, I gotta be here just to want to squish her. All right. All right, so I'm gonna just do a quick cut here. I'm gonna reposition my camera so you guys can see what's going on this one behind me. But yeah, that's all she wrote for this one. I am gonna crack this lid too, just to give them a little bit of space, or a little bit of air circulation, because that might be all it is. They might just be trying to swarm because they might be too hot and congested in there. They do have a ton of them flying around today. All right, now on to the new one. All right, so we've had this one on for 4 or 5 days now. Just want to check to see how they're doing. I'm not gonna spritz this one. I don't know if I'm gonna break this into 2 videos or not, but on that other hive over there, I spritzed it because that was all new. That was all new plastic. It didn't have any it had some wax on it, but I didn't do a great job doing that. So I was reached in to grab the center, and this is kind of what I was a little worried about, is that there's no production on it out in the center. I'm not even seeing bees here. So I might do an interesting thing. What I'm thinking about just doing here real quick is I have a queen excluder here. I'll take that off. And I'm just gonna put this box in this place. So we're just gonna do that real quick. What this will do is it'll cause the bees to have to really, work that section because it'll be in the brood chamber. And what I'll do is I'll just let them build it up and let the queen lay there, which will be totally fine. When we're ready, we'll make sure we don't have the queen, and we'll just move that box to the top, let everything hatch out, and then let them turn that into honey super later. So that's the general game plan right now. And we're going to see if it works. All right. So this is just going to be a quick and painless process here. Well, I say painless, but just a friendly review. If you're up and coming beekeepers out there and you're thinking of getting these wax coated ones in the sun, they really start melting together and they are a pain to kind of take apart, is one thing I'm noticing about them. Whew. Okay, that was a heavier box. Heavier than I expected. All right, so we're just really gonna smoke these real quick just to make sure they're not on the border here. I'll get that bee out of there. That's a dead one. All right. So yep, it's gonna be this simple here. We're just gonna put this box here. We're just gonna put it up here just to get everybody. Just get it all like that. So again, the reason we're doing this is to get so this is a brood chamber and that other box is a brood chamber. Really just what we're trying to do is entice the bees to build this one out by essentially putting the brood chamber above it or below it. I don't know where the queen is right now, but that kind of doesn't matter because this is a queen excluder. This is why I had on the honey super, because I didn't want the queen getting up there. But I'm just going to take this out and give them the whole, essentially a 3-box brood chamber, just to let them build it up. And then later on, I'll just pull that medium box out and then put a queen excluder on it, and wherever the queen is, I'll move her. All right, there we go. And yep, that's all there is to it. So we're just gonna leave it like that for, I'll be out here in a few days, so I'll just let it like that for a few days. And let's see how they're doing. So that's all there is to it. Again, if you guys have made it this far in the video, I do really appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, do all that stuff that every other YouTuber out there asks you to, it really does help. Feel free to leave a comment, a like, all that good stuff. Yeah, I mean, we're just getting going here, but we're seeing some good growth. So I do appreciate all you guys that do watch and do subscribe. Again, this is Ethan with Beware Beekeeping, and I'll see you guys in the next video.